Hey guys, this is your host Thomas Tyree here from On the Hot Podcast. Today, this will be the Combat Series episode number 107 for you guys today. We're going to kick things off with discussing what happened in the main event of UFC 317 last night in the world of MMA between Ilia Topuria and Charles Olivera. So, it was Ilia Topuria that won the vacant lightweight championship in the main event of UFC 317, knocking out Charles Olivera to become a two-division world champion in his UFC career. So I'll be sharing my thoughts on the fight that took place in the main event between Ilia Topuria and Charles Olivera. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I called my shot, and I love when I call my shot. And I said Ilia Topuria was going to knock out Charles Olivera. But I didn't know he was going to knock him out in 2 minutes and 27 seconds into the first round, knocking out an all-time great in Charles Olivera. I don't care. I've seen enough. Ilia Topuria right now is ranked number one in my pound-for-pound rankings. I think he's the best in the world. And this unprecedented run that he's on right now, 17-0 in his MMA career, has knocked out 3 all-time greats in a row. Alexander Volkanovski to win the featherweight title last year. Knocked out Max Holloway. And knocked out Charles Olivera in his first fight at the lightweight division to become the new lightweight champion. There's nobody in the UFC that has knocked out those 3 respective fighters in their MMA careers other than Ilia Topuria. But this fight, I thought it was going to be longer and more competitive, but Ilia Topuria called his shot. He said he was going to get a first-round knockout. The first-round knockout was led by a short right hand connected with the left hook. Oh, my goodness. Charles Olivera was completely out of it. He was already bleeding, and when his head got dribbled off the canvas, off the floor of the inside the octagon, that was all she wrote. And Ilia Topuria, man, I'm telling you guys, this guy is the real deal. And we've seen someone that was so dangerous. His power translates from featherweight, and it's now translated to lightweight. This is incredible. This is unprecedented what he's doing right now. And I think this run, you guys got to, whether you like him, you hate him, you got to give Ilia Topuria his credit, because I just mentioned the names, the all-time greats that he's knocked out in a row, in 3 fights in a row, in a matter of a year and a half span. This is incredible. So I think Ilia Topuria has come to show us why he's one of the best in the world. But going back to how short this fight was for the 2 minutes and 27 seconds that it lasted for in the first round, I told you guys last week that the key to success for Ilia Topuria was going to be his boxing background, fighting in the orthodox stance, landing the 1-2 combinations, the jab, the hooks, everything that he needed to do. But I said also that Charles Olivera was very chinny. His chin has been cracked and exposed several times against some amazing strikers at the lightweight division. He's gotten the octagon with the likes of Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, Michael Chandler. And he just faced his toughest task, his toughest quest. And probably the hardest hitter out of the 3 respective fighters that I just mentioned, Ilia Topuria's power. It looks phenomenal, incredible. And when you watch that knockout in several different angles, the power is the real deal. And Charles Olivera, unfortunately, had to feel that power, that wrath last night in the octagon in the main event of UFC 317. But I thought that also, for as short as the fight lasted, Ilia Topuria did a good job of getting away out of the clinch, because I said that Charles Olivera last week in my prediction for the fight, that Charles Olivera was going to have to fight in the clinch against a powerful striker in Ilia Topuria. But Ilia Topuria got out of any clinch situations and did not let Charles Olivera land the takedowns. Someone that is that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu background, has the most finishes in UFC history, a tremendous grappler, a tremendous submission fighter. He didn't let Charles Olivera in to what he liked, and Ilia Topuria just capitalized, nailed, again, the right hand followed with the left hook. Thing of beauty. And Ilia Topuria now is the new lightweight champion in the UFC. But I don't know what else this guy has to prove to you guys. That he's not number 1 in the world. That run that I just said, and he just steamrolled one of the greatest lightweight fighters of all time in Charles Olivera, with all due respect. But something I want to break down to you guys as well, I honestly hate comparing fighters, but it feels like we're seeing the second coming of Conor McGregor, just in a better version. Because what Conor McGregor did when he was in the prime of his career, when he became a world champion the first time in his UFC career, he, at the time, defeated well, a lot of people still recognize him as the greatest featherweight champion of all time, Jose Aldo. He did it in under 30 seconds. Obviously, Ilia Topuria could do that, but you guys get my point. Ilia Topuria, in his first world title fight, took the featherweight title from one of the greatest featherweights of all time, in Alexander Volkanovski. Then, Conor McGregor proved that his power could translate from featherweight up to lightweight when he became a two-division world champion, the double champion. And Ilia Topuria, just like he did at featherweight, had a title defense, but then moved up to lightweight and translated his power at lightweight, dominating one of the greatest lightweight fighters of all time, Charles Olivera. I don't think it's crazy to keep comparing Ilia Topuria to Conor McGregor, the prime Conor McGregor, but I think Ilia Topuria might be more dangerous because, yes, we talk about the striking that Ilia Topuria has given us thus far in his MMA career, but I still stamp it. Nobody has made Ilia Topuria go deep into his arsenal, into his bag, into his toolbox to use his grappling abilities at the UFC platform yet. Nobody's done it. This is what making Ilia Topuria scary. You already don't want to keep the fight standing, but you don't know what this man is capable of if this goes to a wrestling affair, because he does have, I believe, 6 to 8 submission victories in his MMA career. So I think we're seeing something special of Ilia Topuria that has so much mileage left, and I feel like he's gonna have a special career if the hunger is still there and the desire is still there. Now let me backtrack on what I just said. I just compared Ilia Topuria and the young Conor McGregor in his prime. What took the prime, the flavor out of prime Conor McGregor was Conor McGregor wanted to chase the money. He wanted to chase the clout, and that was fine. But he went over to boxing to fight Floyd Mayweather. And after that, the numbers don't lie. The win-loss column doesn't lie. He wasn't the same hungry Conor McGregor, and only had one win after getting in the boxing ring with Floyd Mayweather in 2017. This version of Ilia Topuria, if he can stay hungry, I hate to be the one to say it, he could be the first ever 3-division world champion in UFC history. The guy is just so phenomenal. He's so talented. And you know how talented you have to be when the UFC, you got to make a promise with the UFC that you will not go up the welterweight to chase the winner of JDM and Islam Makhachev next. He had his fingers crossed in that interview I saw. But I'm telling you guys, this guy is the real deal. He's special. I'm already claiming him as the pound-for-pound #1 fighter. I had Islam Makhachev as my latest pound-for-pound rankings, but I'm going to go ahead and give that to Ilia Topuria based off of what he's done. This is an unprecedented run. But Ilia Topuria also joins an impressive list of talented UFC icons, legends, Hall of Famers that have become 2-division world champions. The likes of John Jones, George St. Pierre, Conor McGregor, Amanda Nunes, DC, and several others that Ilia Topuria has joined this incredible list 17 fights into his MMA career. You got to give him his flowers and his credit. This man is on top of the world in combat sports right now. But the aftermath of UFC 317, what's next for Ilia Topuria? Now, after Ilia Topuria defeated Charles Olivera in the main event of UFC 317, when he was celebrating and he had that interview with Joe Rogan, I felt like it was appropriate to bring Paddy Pimblett into the octagon, because we know Ilia Topuria has wanted to fight Paddy for quite some time now. The bad blood is there. They got some history together. And he wants to call his shots as the world champion at the lightweight division. So damn it, let him do it. But I thought it was great with the face-off between Ilia and Paddy last night. That fight has me sold and invested into seeing by the end of 2025. The trash talk was crazy. I'm going to put my balls on your forehead. That is crazy to say to a grown-ass man. I just want to see this fight. But I know Dana White wasn't happy at the UFC press conference following UFC 317. And I get it for a lot of people that think Paddy's not ready for a championship fight. His only quality win is against a washed Michael Chandler. And probably someone like Justin Gaethje should be next in line to fight Ilia Topuria next, or Arman Tsarukyan. But I'm sold, guys. I would honestly love to see that next. Ilia Topuria and Paddy. Both are great strikers. Both can be good on the ground. I would like to see that as well. I think that's an interesting fight. So I would love to see it, but Paddy probably needs one more marquee win under his belt to prove to us that he's world championship material, or should be next in line for a world title shot. So, and he's not even ranked in the top 5 yet at the lightweight division. So I think we're probably going to have to wait, but the money talks, and the build-up would be tremendous between these fighters that are coming across seas and they love to exchange words and great trash talkers. I think this would be great for the lightweight division. But again, it would probably be someone like Justin Gaethje or Arman Tsarukyan that does fight. Well, actually, now that I think about it, Arman Tsarukyan actually is on the back burner of Dana White because he did pull out of that fight earlier in the year against Islam Makhachev on a 24-hour notice. So maybe it might be Justin Gaethje that fights the next for the lightweight title. We'll see. But I think those options for Ilia Topuria next is great for him in his first lightweight title defense by the end of the year. But to close out, what's next for Charles Olivera? He is 35 years of age. I think he's still one of the greatest lightweights of all time. If he still wants to become a lightweight champion, he's got some work to do because this still is one of the greatest divisions in the UFC today. There's still some big fights with Charles Olivera. I'd like to see him fight the likes of Max Holloway. Oh, I think that would be a tremendous fight between him and Max Holloway down the line at the lightweight division. A rematch against Justin Gaethje isn't the worst idea in the world. Could be a possible title eliminator. We'll see how that goes with this the lightweight rankings that will come out very shortly. Or a rematch against Arman Tsarukyan. That was a pretty good competitive fight that we saw at UFC 300 a year ago. I wish that fight would have lasted more than 3 rounds. That was very competitive. Could have gone either way, but I do believe they got the right decision that night with Arman Tsarukyan winning the fight. Or a rematch against Dan Hooker. See, that's the thing. Charles Oliveira has been around for so long. He's fought basically everybody at this lightweight division. But I think those names, those rematches sound intriguing. A rematch against Justin Gaethje, a rematch against Arman Tsarukyan, a rematch against Dan Hooker, or a fresh fight between himself and Max Holloway at the lightweight division. Dana White and the UFC executives are going to have some fun with this lightweight division. I think it's one of the best in the world right now, but bright days are ahead. But those are my thoughts on the fight that took place in the main event of UFC 317 between Ilia Topuria and Charles Olivera.